Okay, in this video, I'm going to go over the exam questions, the written questions at the beginning, and just give you an idea of what I wanted you to answer on those, okay? So on the first question, it was explain the fetch, decode, execute cycle. So to get full credit on this one, you needed to say that this is what the CPU does. A lot of you didn't specify that. So the CPU is going to fetch some binary code from the main memory. It's then going to decode it into commands. It's then going to execute those commands. So that's what I was looking for on that question, okay? Question 2 asks the difference between a compiled language and an interpreted language, give an advantage of each. So remember, we talked about a compiled language is one where your source code, which is a plain text file, is put through a program called a compiler. The compiler turns it into machine readable, executable code, okay? So it does it all at once. Examples are C++, and that's a good example. Where an interpreted language never converts into that machine code file. Instead, it's going to execute the program line by line live as you're putting it in, okay? So, or as you're running the program. It doesn't compile it first, okay? So you have to execute it line by line every time that you run it, okay? Advantages of the compiled language are that you can distribute your code without letting people know what your code looks like. So you can distribute just the program. It also can be faster in some cases, okay? And interpreted language tends to be easier to develop in and easier for especially new programmers to use. You get more immediate feedback, okay? Question 3, the 3 types of errors that your program can have. The first error is a syntax error. That's a grammar error in the language, okay? The second type of error that you could have is a runtime error. That's when the program runs for some input, but other input or other conditions that happen during the execution of the program cause it to blow up, okay? And the third is a semantic or logic error, and that's when you don't understand the process that you're trying to do, okay? You don't know how to you think you know how to calculate something, but it turns out that you don't, okay? So that's connected to question 4, which is how you discover those errors. The syntax errors are the easiest to discover. Those, the idle or whatever IDE you're using will complain at you that you don't, that it's not working. And so you've misspelled something or put the wrong variable type in or something else, okay? The second type, the runtime errors, you have to run test cases, typically looking for boundary conditions, big numbers, little numbers, 0, things like that, to look for those errors, okay? The third type of error, the semantic or logic error, you need to have test cases that were created by somebody who does know what they're doing. So an expert of some sort is necessary for that, okay? And then on the fourth one, the correct answer was, I believe, 11110011, I think. If it was a 7-digit number, you could have added a 0 at the end if you wanted. And if you want more detail on how that worked, then I would be happy to explain it, okay? So if you did some kind of binary conversion but didn't quite get it right, then I gave you partial credit for it. But if your method was way off, I did not, okay? So that's it on the questions part. So I will also put together a video, probably not today, but I will put together a video with the solutions to the 3 programs, okay? Just so you can have something to base that on. I'll also, in those videos, show you the rubric that I use to give you an idea of how I go about grading programs, okay? Now, I said it in class, but I want to reiterate here that the partial credit works up until the final. The final, by that point, I expect you to be writing programs that actually work. Okay, so I'm not going to be picking them apart, looking for things to give you points on. It's more of a holistic. If I run it and it works, life's good. If not, life is not good, okay? So not to say that there may not be some partial credit, but there's a much higher weight on the programs working by that point, okay? As always, if you have questions, make sure that you let me know.